Hello! So dramatic music. I have to play my own DJ to make sure I turn the next song off. Welcome, everyone. It is the day. It is book launch kickoff day. And I am so thrilled of this day and that you are here with me today. Gosh, words escape me. Words are hard, and I wrote a lot of them in a book called Digital Leadership for Higher Ed that is available. Well, I think it's Amazon pre-order still, that darn Amazon. And then my publisher Stylus, you can grab that book right away. But honestly, this is not about a promotion, or this is definitely not a webinar. This is to come together in community because there were so many people that made this day possible. And you know what? If we can't get together in person to have some fun, I'm going to try to bootstrap as much as possible to celebrate digitally, because that is always the goal. So in this kickoff, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of the behind the scenes peek, showing you the website and a little bit about what the book is about. I am also going to share with you a little bit of the dedication and my behind the scenes process. I have a special guest, Ed Cabellon, who is a fellow collaborator and friend who's going to put me in the hot seat. And then again, just a space for us to celebrate. I am so thrilled to see so many folks already in the chat saying hello. And then just so you know, this is hopefully being streamed live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And wouldn't you know that tech problems might happen? And so if all of a sudden I get this really panicked or frozen look on my face and I freeze, don't worry, I'll be back. The stream will just keep going without me. So I hope you can stick around for this next hour or so, again, of celebrations. Now, everyone kept asking me, well, what's the difference between the kickoff and the party? Okay, people, I think it's pretty descriptive based on titles. Today, we are drinking water and tea and coffee, and a party, I'm going to be attempting to open a bottle of champagne live. So that's a big difference. And then we will also be doing some dancing, some competition, some fun on Thursday. So I would love for you, your families, your friends to all join in and have a an internet appropriate good time. let's just let's just say that. So, if you are joining today or even in the replay, I would love to know that you are here today. Please say hello. I see a lot of folks that are in the book that are jumping in. Of course, my hype woman in charge, Liz Gross. Steve Robinson, president at Lansing Community College. Good to see you. Rachel, always a friendly face to see on the interwebs. Martha, also such a great familiar face. I wonder if you have jumped into your residence life living yet. Megan Rolfs, Illinois State, love to see you in the chat here too. We've done lots of work together the last few years. Jonathan Gabriel, in the book, I get to talk about his team HESM Slack channel. I love digital communities, and he's done such cool things there. Katie Spencer Johnson, hello. Thanks for jumping in, a fellow blog collaborator recently. Um, John Lowry jumping in from the faculty side. Hey, let's get this book into as many classes as we can to get the dialogue going. Oh, and good friend Kristen is jumping in. Let me tell a quick story about my book journey that definitely involves Kristen. In this book started in 2016, and there was a number of folks that were involved in helping me write this pitch. And now let's also keep in mind that I submitted to an educational publisher. Every publishing company has a different process. So I didn't have this literary agent that was like pitching me around town. This was directly to educational publishers. And, there's basically like a treatment that you send to them to say, this is what I think people want to read. Well, so she was involved, and Liz definitely were involved at the very, very start. Um, but Kristen also became my ER nurse, editor, therapist. Like, we are going to get through this because this very last summer, a surprise edit was required. And I swear I owe Kristen my firstborn, which I'm just going to owe her many things over time for how much she was helpful to me. And great timing with that. David Brightman from Stylist Publishing has jumped in as well. David, thank you for believing in this book, believing in me, and teaching me so much about what it means and what it takes to be an author, which we are doing today. We are making it official. Okay, so again, say hi, even if you're watching this afterwards. It's again just so great to see you all jumping in the comments and saying hello. So, there could be a bet on the table for how long it's going to take me to maybe tear up, but maybe like I can hold it together because, or maybe not. I don't know. Either way, the tissues are here because you just can't be too careful. So, as I was rereading like the acknowledgement section and the dedication and just rethinking through my process again, like the way that the idea for this book started many years ago, one piece of advice that I was very grateful for that someone gave me was, and this is really any major project, but especially something like a book, or maybe you want to write a movie or something, is to start a book, your own book, a book on a book. Oh, Liz says I'm not supposed to cry till the party. Well, okay, I have enough tears to go around. I'm an emotional person. So, okay, so back to this. So to have a book about writing the book, it would be a journal, it would be a to-do list, and I thought it was just so fitting of my very first entry, and then I'll show you a few of the entries, because what this also turned into was I started to track every single day how much I was able to write or edit or kind of plan my attack. And as much as I believe in digital and using all the productivity tools out there, I'm very, very grateful to be going analog a little bit with this because I also feel like it's almost like its own archive piece that I and whoever else happens upon it later in life will see. Um, so I think I'm going to read from this, if that's okay, because it's not, I'm not reading from the book. This is actually a journal entry. So you're getting into all the goodness of my brainwaves. So, okay, here goes. So this was in May of 2017. So it basically took a whole year to get the book pitched and approved and contracts and then starting off. So this is called In the Beginning of a Book. Okay. So this won't be your best book. There will be errors and missteps, but it is not your last. And I know my husband watching this is already he's shaking his head. This not writing a book very soon. So don't you worry. Okay. But there might be another one someday. Okay. So learn through the process. Keep it simple. Just keep writing and asking questions. Make it applicable. Stop planning, just write. Big chunks, small moments. Take notes everywhere. Make this summer of flow and fun and strength. Get lost in writing. Don't judge your grammar. I need to remember that right now. You'll cite after. Get visual. Small tasks, bold outcomes. Don't stop, but smile. This is the first of many. Just your name. Claim it. Not for fame, but how you'll remain. And some sugar and spice and substance. Make it real and readable and make it you. So, from the journal entry of Josie Alquist on her first day of writing. And so, again, I want to show you just a couple things from it. And again, if any of you are thinking about writing a book, I started a day by day and wrote down like how many words I got to, or if I read something and then what it was that I was working on. And this, I mean, it could be debatable where it gets smudgy. That could be tears, maybe that was some white wine that got spilled on it. But I think this is just so interesting, and I'm so thankful that I kept track of this because I did start to wander off this last year and I wasn't adding as many entries into it. So that's a little sneak peek behind the scenes of my process and where it started. And again, so many of you that are joining today were part of that. And I'm going to share a little bit of the dedication and acknowledgments in a little bit so you can see that. And to get there, I'm going to share with you the book website. And again, this is not a webinar. I don't want y'all to feel like I'm going to set you up with some big sales pitch, but this website was also a years in the making process of dreaming up, even before the book cover was done, what all goodness we could pack into one place. So even those that don't have the book yet could start to get some good substance from it. So of course I need to update the very top so folks know that things are available now. The one spot I want to scroll down to, ooh, here we go, is a table of contents. Every good book needs a table of contents. And that was where I first really had to get clear through my submission process of what we call in Wyoming the meat and potatoes of this text. And there's three major parts to it. The first one is what we call the primer for digital leadership, where we get to set the screen, set the tone for where we are right now with social media and leadership and different skill sets. And the good news, if you are tired of hearing in no other time but right now or in these times, I submitted this book, I swear, the day before the pandemic. So, unfortunately, the text is not written for COVID 19, but goodness, don't we know that leadership in digital spaces is relevant, whether there are examples of COVID 19 or even the word pandemic or COVID 19 or constant crises throughout the book. So I I think it's relevant no matter what. The heart of the book is basically the framework of digital leadership, which very fittingly is called Heartware. And I set up a framework that has 5 parts. And again, this is not a webinar for me to teach you that, but I'm just so excited to share lots and lots about it. And then the last part is digital leadership in practice, because what I found is people actually need to see these things in action and not just say theoretically or philosophically, like, this is what you should do on Twitter. And so I packed in as many people as I possibly could, honestly, throughout the entire text, so you could see all of this in action. And so that's where I want to jump now, is so you can see in action some of the features. And this page is also hot off the presses of, again, everyone that is included in the book. And what I'm going to do is drop in this link to in the chat. It's basically my website, josiealquist.com/digital leader. And then the features are in there. So you're going to find folks from student affairs, from uh, from presidents to faculty to consultants, provosts. If you are in here, oh, it doesn't look like my link dropped in, but that's okay. And a few of you are joining the stream today, or I'm having some special guests on Thursday, so you might see a few of those there. So I would love for you to check out the features page and connect with some of these featured digital leaders throughout the book, because again, I hope I did them proud by featuring them and showing how they use different tools, from maybe a newsletter to a video series to even just something really simple as their choice of whether to be on certain platforms or not. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to kind of show and tell before I invite my very special guest on is of course, I'm a blogger. That's where my entire career started, was blogging. I began blogging when I was getting my doctorate, honestly, out of fear that I would need an external source outside of my program. I didn't even plan to blog about school. I don't even think I really saw the connection yet. But once I did, I was able to meet like my special guest today, Ed Cabellon. And so, of course, the book would have a blog post announcement about it, where just like on the website, it's going to give you lots of different features. But what I'm going to bring your attention to, and hopefully y'all can see this, or you just jump over to that blog to find it, because it's long. And this is us doing a kickoff right now. And then again, there's a party on Thursday, and you should totally come. I got some book buzz from some really amazing people throughout higher education. For you leadership nerds out there, Susan Comavez, she showed up to my dissertation presentation at ACPA, which is a professional association, which used the frameworks of the social change model. And she even tweeted out about me, so that was really fun. Again, if you're really a student affairs leadership nerd, you'll get it. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here. My thank yous and IOUs, again, these are of course all in the book, but I just want to give a couple moments of acknowledgement to a handful of people, and one I know is definitely not watching, because he would probably hate technology. He would definitely have thrown my phone across the house if I would, as a child, ever had the opportunity to have a phone. And so there are 3 sets of people who I've dedicated the book to. And the first is my grandfather, who listed first, a original Wyoming cowboy. So I say, for my late grandpa, here we go. If the bets are coming, it's good. Okay, I'm holding it together. Okay, get it out. Okay, for my late grandpa, Strader Clark, who, despite receiving only a middle school education, insisted upon higher ed for his children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren. He would always say, "Get your education, kid. No one can take that away from you." So, Grandpa, thank you. He was such an ornery man. He would be in big trouble today. But I loved him, and it was great to be able to acknowledge I'm doing it. Okay, guys, that's only one. I have two more I have to read. Okay. So, next is my sidekick, business partner, best friend, and husband, who is also my tech troubleshooter, is in the background of the live stream in case all hell breaks loose. Lloyd Alquist. Who encouraged me and a life of creating. These are gonna be ugly, y'all. Okay, last one. We're gonna do this. Okay, my parents, I call them mom and dad. You can call them mom and dad too. They would love to mother and father all of the world. Mike and Janet Hutchinson. I am standing, giving you a world record standing ovation. You deserve it. You would never, ever ask for it. And I love you so much. And I'm not going to read all the acknowledgments because it's really long. And there was a lot cut from the book. Like another book came from the book that probably wouldn't make sense in the way that it was all cut up. But in the blog, there's everyone that's listed, everyone that's encouraged me and been there for me through the bright days and the dark days and everything in between. I want to especially thank the rest of my family, my brothers, my sisters, my nieces and nephew, and everyone else in between. Okay, that could have went way worse. And I don't even know why I put on eyeliner. Like, who does that when you know you're already emotional? So, I don't know if I can put Ed on here yet because if he keeps me crying, I'm just gonna hide under my desk. We can edit around this, right, babe? That's what's possible. Okay, so, well, thank you for hearing that out. I will also be giving more special shout outs at the book launch party. And with a little champagne in me, who knows what will happen. So, all good things, though, right? Okay, so without further ado, I am excited to introduce to you my very good friend and collaborator, co-conspirator, Ed Cabellon. Again, this is not a webinar, it's not a podcast. We're just going to have a good old conversation, and he's going to ask me some questions. If y'all have questions, you can drop that in the chat as well. But Ed is not just the book, but there are so many things that I'm doing now that fully Ed deserves a whole lot of credit for them coming to fruition. So without further ado, my good friend Ed.
Hi, friend.
Hi.
I gotta tell you, I was a little misty backstage listening to you. I'm so proud of you, really, really, really proud. As so many who are watching this live and know the work that went into this. And so you should be super proud. This is a day about you. This is a day about your family and everything that's gotten you to this point. And I couldn't be more humbled to be part of your launch today. So thanks for asking me to be part of this. Really happy. So
yeah, it's good to see you. And
yeah, it's good to see you.
You know this. I can see like the people in the behind the scenes. I can see your reactions. So I did.
Oh yeah, no, I was counting on it. And so don't, and Lloyd, if you hear me, don't you dare edit this. This is like the best non-webinar thing that I think many people have gone to in a while. So authenticity, empathy, such important things today. So really appreciated you being just your authentic true self, Josie. This is why we love you and why we're here for you and why so many people have been supportive of you in your journey. And so to put you on the hot seat this afternoon is really a pleasure because of our journey together and the things that we've been co-conspirators on and the things that we've done together over the years. And I think it would be interesting just to think back when we first met. I think Greg Heiberger deserves some credit for this. He was the one who I think initially introduced us. And I think we were both in our doc program at that point. And so to see, I want to say 6 or 7 years at this point now. I think 2013, 2014 is when we first met. I think we first met at an ACPA conference, which was awesome. And maybe even sooner. I'm thinking back now. Let me take us back. When did we actually?
Well, the first time, I don't know if I think I've told you this. The first time I met you, like in the
IRL?
in person, was Vegas ACPA, which was my very first ACPA, and you were like front and
Yeah.
center show. And I still wasn't really active on social media, so I was very much in the explorative camp. And so I was familiar with you, and in that next year started to explore, like, what's this Twitter thing? Like, seriously?
What is this Twitter thing? Should we move from MySpace? Is it time? So yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when we started writing and collaborating together on presentations, on our research, and looking at the things that we were both interested in the digital space, in technology and social, you were always someone who I knew was going to do things beyond where you were at the time, and thinking about the things that you were formulating, the ideas you had. And so, I remember writing, we co-edited that volume for New Directions, and doing that project together, I think was the thing for us together was something I'm very proud of, and continues to be some of the things that folks use. But what you've done since then, I think, is so critical to the field. In a time in higher education where you look at the need for this type of education, formal education, and hell yeah, I mean, we got to get this in the grad programs. Absolutely. This text better be in higher ed, student affairs, really any grad program in higher ed at this point should look at this book. I think it's going to be critical for them to use, and for students to take in and then remix for themselves, and so I think you're going to spawn this book will spawn additional research and interest, particularly now where we're at in the world, and how leaders have adjusted in digital spaces for a variety of reasons. And so
I got a few private messages of, yeah, I'm going to gift this to XYZ person, because that's where it all started for me, was seeing someone like you or another dean or VP or president who was like super connected on a tool like Twitter, but at campuses I was familiar with at the time, it was a ghost town. They wouldn't even go near a tool like Twitter, or I mean, forget about, like anything else that happened to creep up. And so I kind of set out to prove some leaders wrong, that it was worth their time. I mean, I'm an instigator like that. So.
You are, and I think you have. And as people read this book, I think I told you so moment, but I told you so moment could certainly be there. So tell me a little bit about what your goals for the book are. Like, what are you hoping to, from here? What's the vision? Okay, so you're launching this book. We're going to celebrate this with you. What are you going to do? What's your goals with this book?
So we want to sell out.
Obviously.
I mean, no. Okay, it was last week. I also got asked a question of like, what are you doing in your life? Like, how, and it just like floored me. I'm like, seriously, y'all, I'm just trying to get a book out next week, right? So, I just want to see the impact and the reaction of the book. It's been, I mean, obviously, there's been a crew that have seen it throughout the years, and some testimonials and reviewers and all those things. But I'm ready to receive, like as a researcher, but also like as a creative, you just can't play in your own sandbox. You want to see how others respond to it and make meaning of it. And like you said, remix it. And like, I think a separate book should be written probably for mid-level new and grad students. I think that reality is, while I featured a number of them in the book, I think it's a category that is very difficult to navigate, just period, but also then how they can show up in an authentic way, however they define that in digital platforms. Um, I think I tried to balance the scales to make it so anyone in higher ed could read it, from a president to a grad student. But I think going through it and some feedback I received, I think. So again, I'm not going to write that book. I'm sorry. But maybe there'll be some blog posts from it or something like that. But okay. So, well, okay, I'm going back to your question. What I am doing is I have a course that I've been working on that basically brings this book to life. There are tons of exercises in the book, but we all know what people do with when they're reading a book and there's an exercise in it. You're just scrolling past it, okay? Like, you can be straight, because that's what I do too. So those that need a little bit of accountability and even coaching and community, next month there will be a course release to put this stuff into action for folks, so then they can not just read it but do it and then have some access to me. So that's the next. And then
Exciting.
I've had a lot of folks try to encourage me to apply the framework outside of higher ed, as we know many industries need ethical and authentic leaders at the forefront in digital spaces. So um, but you know what, also what I'm thinking about most simply, I just need to meet my niece Roxy. Like, she was born the week before the pandemic, and I mean every day I think about her. And it makes the book meaningful. Like, of course, like, she's part of the dedication, but all these things we do are great. But it also, the book is about doing social media that is grounded in your values, and my family are so woven in my values, so to not to get to see them is hard.
Of course.
And we're
Yep.
doing like a Zoom later, and that'll be great. And I'm sure she'll sleep through it, because that's what 6-month-year-olds do.
Right. Right. Right.
So, yeah. Oh, and I'm gonna cure COVID.
Oh, okay. Let's just add that to the list then. Let's get on that sooner rather than later, shall we? Well, you know what? Speaking of COVID, I'm actually glad you brought this up. So let's just say we could take the DeLorean 88 miles an hour back in time, and you would know as you were writing the book that we would be going through a global pandemic. What would you have added or shifted, knowing that folks would be having this additional, very challenging layer on top of what they're already going through in terms of the work, both within student affairs, enrollment, and really throughout the academy?
Right. Wow. So there would be examples, obviously, of what we did see work right away. The book is definitely not one of a shame tool. There's one example where I'm like, this is how bad kind of the internet went in higher ed, but I wanted it to be a positive and possibilities perspective. The one area that I've always had to work on personally and professionally is crisis management and conflict. And there is a section in the book on that, but I would definitely want to increase substance and scale, as I think no matter if you are at the forefront of this as a public facing leader on your campus, or if you're the social media manager who is just buried in comments and negativity and backlash, to a faculty member who now is being forced into all kinds of tools in order, yeah, that would definitely be a section that I would want to have added to.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think based on what we know now, I think there will be people writing these pieces maybe with you or using this book as some of that text that will help them jump off to that point. So, so you mentioned earlier a little bit about, a book perhaps in the future, because this isn't, by the way, this is the first book, or there's other books that you will have. I'm pretty confident, because now that you've done it, it's like riding a bike. It'll happen again, I'm sure. But like, really, who should read this now? Like, if I was to, if I'm talking about this with colleagues and friends throughout the academy, I'm like, all right, these are the groups I want to, really encourage to read first, because there would be some quick value add in the work and the practice and the impact on students, most importantly. So who are those first readers that we should be, connecting your book with? I mean, everyone, of course, but really a focus.
I mean, I could see a few different buckets, but
Hmm.
those that need they're doing it, they're on the platforms, but they feel like they wonder what's it for, or the intentionality and strategy behind it. Early on in my research, I found even the most public leaders didn't have a strategy for social. And I don't think you have to have it planned out day by day, hour by hour, but the stakes are pretty high, especially for really public leaders. So the very forefront public leaders, I would definitely encourage to read this, especially if you're starting to question, like, this is just busy work. It feels like going through email, because the book is going to present and also challenge you to get clear on who you're really here to serve and what is your purpose. And then let's forget about all of these platforms until we can find the right tool that fits your why. Because I think that's what we forget about, is that we've invested all this time onto something like Twitter, but then the people we really want to connect with aren't even there. And it could be as simple as that. You will also get relieved to see, again, like the real examples. That's why there's so many features. Is there is not one size fits all to social media and to digital leadership. And I offer a philosophy, but I don't say this is it. And so you get to craft what that is by looking at one person being like, I would never do what Josie does, but I kind of dig what Ed did on Instagram, and then maybe I'm going to try that on. I think the other people that might be good for this are the naysayers. Like, prove me wrong, but hopefully you'll find a new, refreshing perspective that, again, you were kind of missing. There's an entire chapter that takes leadership theories and applies them to what we do in digital spaces. And Steve Robinson, actually, he's one of the features in that chapter. And I take how he used the NCC stigma movement on Twitter into one of the leadership theories, and how we could, even if you knew that or not, how that was enacting and serving. And so I feel like that hopefully might bring some people more meaning to the tools. I also don't get me wrong, Facebook is pretty can be pretty messed up. Like, these tools are not perfect. They are a tool. And so how can we at least go in with our own self-awareness to do what we really want to enact in these spaces. So sorry, I got on a little soapbox there. Coming back down.
No, that's good. All good. Cosign 100%. Absolutely. What are some of the lessons that you learned? I mean, when you do a project like this, I mean, reading from your journal was awesome, by the way. And I think that's a really good like demonstration of leadership to begin with, just, as a point of, just point that you did that. It was part of your process. It's a very leadership, I think, a way of thinking of things. So as you go through it now and reflect, right? You've done a lot. I know you've done a lot of reflection on the process, and now today, what are some of the key lessons that you learned that others would benefit from, who may or may not be interested in writing a book, but might be applicable to what's going on in their professional or even personal life at this point?
Good question. So it's going to change. Whatever your idea is, from your table of contents to, and like, because I can kind of want to be a little bit of a perfectionist, right? And I thought that what I would submit, like I have to behold this exact framework, and so that was a relief. And maybe different publishers are different, but you're really selling a publisher on you and your knowledge and this concept. So again, that was kind of relief. Get people that you know are going to be in your corner, thick and thin through it. I wish so. I created a group me with a dozen or so people that when toward the end, it was getting some dark days. Okay. And I was like, I don't want to be putting this stuff out on Twitter or wherever. And my husband can't take it all. Okay. So I created a group me, and I wish I would have started that even sooner. And this is an idea you could do even for a dissertation or any other major thing that you're going through is, I mean, Keith Edwards he was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You did that. I didn't really think too much about it. He's like, you asked for what you needed. And so I reached out to people. I again, like a dozen people, everyone said, yes, can you be in this group me where I can just be raw and let you know the status update of what's going on in the book and troubleshoot. So that it would be my huge encouragement. The other one, like I started at the beginning, was track it. Like really do be able to look back at the whole process. And then just I think a life lesson. You know when you think about like us little souls and our astrology signs and like what we're here to learn if we want to
Sure.
get really woo-woo here in LA.
Yeah.
I think a major lesson that I am here to learn is timing, because
Yeah.
there's a different submission that I wrote planning out the timing. I was like, "Oh, I can write this thing in a year." Who are No. No. I mean, maybe if it was going to be like a much shorter book. But this thing it was supposed to be 400 pages. After it got cut back, I think we're like at 320. Um, so yeah, and that is okay. But I was always so hard on myself that I wasn't meeting these deadlines that I had set for myself. Again, my publisher was very gracious in, it wasn't the deadlines for them, it was more for me. So that was a major lesson. And I feel like there was one more. Um, Maybe it'll come to me.
It's all good. It's all good. Great stuff, Josie, as always. Really great stuff. I'm just sitting here in your awe, like this is so awesome. I do want to get to the comments and questions if folks have some. I just realized that I just went over to the comment like, oh, there's a whole conversation happening. We should probably pull them in too. So if folks have questions for Josie and would like to ask, I'm happy to facilitate that. I know that we all can see him, but be happy to just do it live, and want to make sure that all of you who have joined us has a chance to comment, question, anything at all. Please, let's celebrate Josie and this really significant accomplishment. This book is going to be a must read for higher education for sure. So other questions?
Talking about the next book, whatever. Like I loved it. I mean, it's so cool to say, just like I did a marathon or triathlon, like you and I are both competitive people, like 4 freaking degrees over there. Like that's enough, right? There was something in me that I was like, I need to do this for myself. There's things for me to learn about myself that I thought it was important that I do it alone. Something I have learned through this process, and I think just being a speaker consultant on my own, is I want more people in the sandbox. If I write, and I want to write with other people or other projects that I do. So I'm just putting it out there like a Craigslist ad. If all y'all want to collaborate on something, I am open to it. Because I get energy from that as well.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember that process very well, actually. So I think it is going to be time soon. Give yourself a little bit of a break. But I mean, I can't see you slowing down. I actually see this as more of a, it's like a plane taking off. Like it's just you're gonna fly and you're gonna do your thing. And we're gonna have to pull you down to collaborate because you're gonna be circling and doing your thing. I'm pretty sure. So, all right. So we got a question from Lloyd and others. There's other questions, but this is a good question. What's your favorite chapter in the book and why?
You can show them. So fancy.
Yeah. Thank
Oh
you.
gosh.
Thank you, Lloyd.
I guess I would say probably chapter 4, which is called Heartware. What is your why for leading online? But it also was one of the most difficult chapters to write, and I was asked to rewrite it twice. So there was not always a love for this chapter, but I think what also made it so emotional was it is the heart of the book. I wanted to get it right, and I think that's why my publishers knew that is we are basically setting the stage for what digital leadership is and what this idea of heartware is. I love to be able to get to feature a couple people in that chapter that are just such glowing examples. And I think that's another thing to bring up. You know, there's different leadership theories, right? That you may immediately know, oh, I'm totally like servant leadership or transformational. But then maybe you see like Myers Briggs and you're like, no, thank you. Like, that's not me. And this book, the framework might be the same. Like, you might see it and be like, actually, that just doesn't fit for me. And that's okay. That's why we need more people to write about this topic that can redefine and set a not even a theory, but a framework for folks that they can at least start to be inspired by. So, two of those folks that were featured, Mamta Akapati, who's now at University of Pennsylvania, and Russell Lowry Hart, who's the president at Amarillo College. Literally, the way they describe their work is that they love the people they work with, that they are honored to work with students, and they use words like humanity and heart and authenticity as they describe their work, but also what they do on social. And again, it was a unison of voices that helped me create the framework, but their stories were neat to capture in that chapter. That again, I think a lot of people in education who identify we're here to serve and it is for others, I hope you'll identify with them and with that chapter.
Those are great examples, and the Heartware chapter I think is going to be a popular one. And I didn't know that you had to write it. That's a great story to share. So I appreciate Lloyd asking the question and you sharing that story. That's great. Jonathan Gabriel's asking, what did you learn about yourself during the process of putting together a book? Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. So Jonathan is one of the features in the book. Oh goodness, there were so many lessons learned that were humbling, that were empowering. Um, Again, I want collaborators going forward. There was like a loneliness factor to it. I think that was why. I mean, my publisher had to be like, stop including more people because I would want to just talk to more people to maybe fill my own need, but I just kept learning from more people and that energized me in the book. I think in any new thing you do the first time, you're gonna like I even wrote it. I was foreshadowing the mistakes I was gonna make, that this was the first thing and there was gonna be errors. So there were things that I didn't think to ask or things to really pay attention to in writing a book that if I was to mentor someone to write a book, and please reach out, I'd be happy to give you the lowdown in the dirt. I should have caught some of those things that would have saved us time, or me time. So some of those like little details would have been helpful. What else? I learned to set my office up, and I should have like got it on camera like the first week also. Maybe some writing, but I was probably like organizing my office half the time. And but what I felt affirmed by, I did feel so much better when this space felt right. But I also paid attention when it started to not feel right again. And so I would kind of rearrange, in
Hmm.
addition to going other places. We have two dogs who just require some energy, and my partner who, it's just different when you're around other people. So I had to really pay attention to, like, where's my energy right now? Where do I physically need to put myself so I can produce those certain things. So I kind of had to start to advocate to myself, but also, like in my house and other places, I'd put myself to get the work done.
This magical iterative process, creative process that you have. And each of us have it, right? I think there's a lot that we bring to those processes when we're faced with a challenging project ahead. And you've obviously figured out, how the best way for you to work. And obviously the end result is this book. And so thank you, Jonathan, for that question. Adam Gismondi. Adam, nice to see you, my friend. Well, will you be doing a national book tour when possible? And will Ed be serving as your traveler interviewer? Listen, I'm game for an adventure with Josie, Lloyd, and the whole crew anytime. So you just sign me up. I'm there. Anyway, that's my quick thing. Josie, when are you going to do your book tour?
Oh yeah, Michelle Obama, her tour. I'm totally like building it off of that concept. We are booking some really big Uh, so book tours. Well, of course, I am open for booking of speaking and consulting where you're going to get all kinds of goodness about the book. But I have always loved to stream into grad programs, complimentary to, and mostly just to have a conversation, not to like lecture and like, this is the framework. Because a lot of times they just want to dialogue and ask questions as they're navigating this topic. So right now my book tour, I guess you could say, starts here and then the party. And then, but thank you for setting this up. I'm starting a live book club series Tuesdays at 1 on these channels. So that would be 4 Eastern time. And I'm going to invite folks that are in the book and we're going to have these conversations. Hopefully, again, it doesn't feel webinar-y at all. You can have us popping in the background so we can continue to learn together, whether you're reading the book or not. I hope they will be helpful in my book tour galore.
Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guaranteed, folks. So Liz Gross, my good friend, it's nice to see you as well. Liz writes that you were really open with your social media followers about the book writing process. So was transparency helpful or a hindrance?
Well, we'll see how book sales do. I guess I would have it no other way that, of course, I was selective in what I did choose to share. I wasn't going to post a photo of me under my desk with all of my tissues. But I thought about what would people want to know if they're thinking about a book or they are writing a book. I don't want anyone thinking that I'm producing from this lens of perfectionism or being perfect. And so I wanted people to know what it really did take. And it also, what social media and living with someone that does content creation has taught me is part of the journey, both ourselves and as individuals, but in building community is documenting our process. And that, again, that does mean the bumps, and the bruises and the highlights, because that's where I think some of social brings out the best parts in our feed. So yeah, I hope that's the goal. That was why.
Great answer and good question. Good question, Liz. And I think it's Liz's birthday. I don't know where. I think it's Liz's birthday today. But happy birthday, Liz! And if it's not, happy birthday anyway. How's that?
We planned this birthday. She was a steadfast soldier through this process. Many times she's like, "You got to keep doing it. It's going to be good, Joe." She would just always be like, "This is going to." She would always remind me how good the book, because she also reviewed it, years, like early on as a reviewer, and then saw later revision. So I actually could really believe her. Like, no, okay, she's read it, she's seen it. Because sometimes you need that. You need those people in your corner when we need affirmation. We need to hear we've done it okay. It's enough for
Mhm.
today. So that Liz, thank you.
Nadine Steckline is asking just how to sign up for the book series. Is that something that will be posted later? Is that going to be on your blog? Like where can folks sign up for the book series? I guess the conversations that you're going to be planning in the future.
So I will post them on all the socials. There'll probably be an event, like Facebook event, that I create. So it's like kind of the home and the link I share out. But the goal, I think, would be to stream them live just like we are here. So maybe just like put a little save the date Tuesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. Yeah, that'd be great to have you all there.
Great. Thanks for the question, Nadine. Appreciate it. Another question, Megan Rolfs. Hi, Megan. Nice to see you. With Marcom folks wearing so many hats, what advice do you have for making time and space to be creative? Great question.
Right. So I want to acknowledge that and give a big, like, bear group hug to people that run social full time, even part time, or those that have just been in the muck of it, because it has been so intense. And social media is still fairly a new field as you think about a line of work, or even like what you might find on a job description, or those that have these like leaders that might have expectations of what social can do, or those that run it. So, also, sidebar, I hope this book could be a helpful advocacy tool for you, for your bosses and supervisors. Um, a tool that helped me. So, again, I don't run social for a major brand every single day. Um, Advocate for yourself. And if the creative project is related to your job, especially, how you might be able to leverage that in spending your time. So, to apply something that really worked for me, because I have like a million other projects too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, maybe this book could have came out earlier if I didn't have a podcast, or like submitted other chapters for books that so but what worked is I would set a whole day aside for the book, or maybe two, or like whatever it was that week. So for those that might have more things coming in, how you could carve that time away on your calendar, advocate for yourself, even like get that workspace that's different. Because a thing like a book or some other creative project, you really do need to get zoned in and honed in for a while. And again, it might take an hour of you just like tidying up for a while to finally like find your zone. And I also know like Katie Linder talks a lot about this on her podcast, as an academic and a creative. So I think that would be a cool resource to check out. So carving out the time, and also just forgiving yourself on the time too. If you only get X amount of words, what I found, again, because I like literally tracked every single word, was maybe one day was kind of yucky, but it set me up for the next day. And then I got almost, I had to work through all that stuff to like move through it. And then one book that really helped me, like both with confidence and creativity, was Big Magic by Liz Gilbert, or Elizabeth Gilbert. That was really a cool read. And she's quoted in the book. She doesn't know it, but she's cited. And Brene Brown, because why not? You can't have a book without Brene Brown.
Outstanding. Great. Thank you for that. I think we'll go into our last question, given where we're at with time. I just want to make sure I'm following our time frame. I think we're good. Sarah Aguilar asked, what do you recommend for someone who wants to start blogging? When you first got started, what did you find helpful? Thank you for the question, Sarah.
Awesome. So I started blogging on Tumblr And you can go find my blog. It's called Josieville. And this is not self promotion. I'm actually quite mortified of it, but I use it as a tool to share with especially grad students to say, this is where it started. And I haven't gone back in to like edit grammatical errors because it's just mostly that. And like, so just allow it to be what it is. Like YouTubers, if you go to YouTubers' first videos, they're gonna be pretty. I mean, again, some of them now are coming out the gate like everything produced and perfect, and don't count who my partner is into this equation. But so know that, just start with what is it that you want to talk about. And so for me, I wanted first to write about my family. I wrote about, and I had a goal. So I said, and don't do this goal. I had a goal to blog every day for 50 days. That's ridiculous. Don't do that to yourself. Don't write your own book by yourself. Like all, I'm just kidding. But maybe you want to blog once a month or every other week. Like, I do think it helps to like set a metric you can try to see what happens. Then you can look back to see how you felt about it. And then again, write about what you're actually passionate about and not what you think others want you to write about. Because that's why at first I didn't even write about social media or tech, because I was like, well, that's what I'm doing in school. I don't want it to be about that. But then the value that I found was once I started to do it, that's when I found people like you. And I was like, well, if this is what it means to find cool people to share these things, these ideas that I have, then that is also amazing. So Sarah, also another idea, since you are in a grad program at FSU, go Knowles, is what I started to do is I would take projects that I'd already done in my doc program and I turn them into digestible blog posts. So not a 20-page paper, right? That could be like 6 blog posts potentially. So don't reinvent the wheel. Like take stuff you're working on, even maybe it's like a little blog that you had to post or a discussion board within Canva. Grab that, throw an image up there on Medium or WordPress, run with it.
Great answer. I think everyone should set their GPSs, their ways to Josieville. And once they arrive, they should check in on Yelp with 5 stars. Okay, so there is one last question that's come in, and I think it's from Lloyd, who would like to, as he says in the chat, put on a nice shirt and come in and give you a gift. So with your permission, is this possible, Dr. Alquist? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Listen. I'm following the playbook.
Oh.
Sorry to ugly up the stream, everybody. I just wanted to bring you a gift. Congratulations from the whole house, which is me and the cats and the dog. Well, our old cat anyway. But that's for you. Open it up. Oh yeah, I know. I don't want to take all the time, but one is for tonight, and one is for when we sell 100 books, and that's for a goal to set as a goal. I think you're gonna do it fast. Could be 2 days, could be 2 years, doesn't matter.
You're gonna blow through that, Lloyd. Really? Like, come on.
I know we're gonna do that in a day. That's what we want. I mean, that's what we really want. Then we can just drink all the wine. Anyway, love you. Bye.
So it's wine. Yay.
Excellent.
Love some
Excellent.
good wine from the wine house probably here in LA somewhere. That's fun.
Yeah. So I'll just close by just saying that I'm just, again, so super proud of you and your work. I've been one of your biggest fans and supporters for so long, and to see you happy and to see you so fulfilled with this major accomplishment is so fun to see. And so I think, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I will, because I'm sitting in the seat right now. But I think we're all very proud, and know that this is just the beginning for you and your writing, and how this breaks off into all sorts of other projects. Digital leadership in higher education is going to be a must read for everyone in higher education. And so thank you for letting me be part of your day.
We're just going to reuse that, pop it around, place it.
Sure. Yeah, whatever you want to do. And so, yeah, I'm thank you for letting me be part of your day and for letting all of us be part of it as well through technology. So if we can't be together, at least we can be in this format together in person. So we can't be together in person, at least we can do it this way. So thank you again, my friend.
Be together. We're gonna have a party, maybe at a conference, or y'all can come over to my house. We're gonna get this thing figured out, right, y'all?
Heck yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
So much for jumping on. It means the world to me.
Love you, friend. Really.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, he didn't make me cry, but he definitely put me on the hot seat, which I love from time to time. And I'm already, is it okay to have wine at 2 in the afternoon? That's for Thursday. Y'all, I am so thankful that you have joined today. I would be completely honored if you were to share this live stream or the link to the book or any of the social stuff that I put out there, all the interweb things. Let people know about this. And especially if they are not on social. I know sometimes some of these platforms can be echo chambers, and the people that really need it actually aren't on any of these platforms. So like maybe send a little email, a little nudge to folks. I do have a discount for y'all if you are not on my subscriber list for my newsletter, and hopefully this will work. If you go directly to Stylus, which is the publisher, oh goodness, how did that show up? Is it a little wonky? The coupon code is DLH. Maybe I should just type this in. DLHE 30. Okay, I'm going to show that. That's a coupon code through Stylus. Get you 30% off and a few free shipping, which shipping is like $5 and it might take you a minute. Let's all pray for the post office. So I would be so honored if you were to consider to grab a copy for you and yours. That would be amazing. And again, I really hope that y'all can join for the party. This also was a little bit like, let's test the technology and if we can incorporate some cool things into it, because we're going to be doing even more on Thursday, which is 4 to 6 Pacific time, 6 to 8, right? No, 7 to 9 East Coast. I swear half of my days is just converting time zones. I would love for you to join. That would be so neat and amazing to celebrate and to have some cheers with you. There will probably be more tears, but there may be some dancing. And so all of those things are all good. Oh, and finally, if and when you do buy the book, please let me know about it. Post out on social. And then finally, there is a hashtag that's used for the readers of the book as well as anything that relates to the book. And that is hashtag DigLead, DIGLEAD. So we can pull those all together and know all of the goodness out on the interwebs. Okay, y'all, I think that is enough for today. This was so neat to be able to do. Stream to so many places. How cool is that? I am honored that you are in my life, whether we know each other really well or not, and you're even considering learning more about digital leadership, and that you were able to watch me cry in the way that I did. And again, there's going to be more of that on Thursday. So, signing off. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing rest of your day.
My heart is beating and I'm under attack. Don't need a cure cause I don't wanna go back. I'm giving in, there ain't no fighting this fire. I got this fever burning inside. I got this fever getting me high. Let's have a great night on the dance the cowboy on the wild horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming the shore, I'll be the third in line to get us some more. I got some money burning holes in my pants, and I've been wearing down the bones in my hands. I'm getting off and yeah, I got me some plans. I got this fever, fever burning inside. I got this fever, fever getting me high. Let's have a great night on the dance floor. I'll be the cowboy on the ride horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming the shore, I'll be the first in line to get us some more. Oh, my rules need breaking, and I need time for wasting before I lose my mind. Oh, tonight we'll all be outlaws. Take what we want and then ride on. Tonight we'll feel alive. I got this fever, fever burning inside. I got this fever, fever getting me high. I got this fever, fever burning inside. I got this fever, fever getting me high. Let's have a great night on the dance floor. I'll be the cowboy on the ride horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming the shore, I'll be the first in line to get us some more. Let's have a great night on the dance floor. I'll be the cowboy on the ride horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming the shore, I'll be the first in line to get us some more.
Were you getting my little messages and stuff?